Looks like a nice cold morning.
Yeah, 4 degrees. It's lovely.
Oh, 4 degrees. Oh, nice. All right. Okay, so would you like to share a bit of your wins for any wisdom gain this past weekend?
Um, I did find some wisdom somewhere. I've probably lost it as I walked to work, though.
All right.
There was something really interesting I was reading last night. I can't remember what it was though. But yeah, we did some work in the garden. And doing quite a lot of timber work and screwing things down and bits of wood and stuff like that. So it was
Okay.
interesting. It
Okay.
was interesting.
All right.
That was good because we got the result. You know, that's about it really.
Okay.
I'm really annoyed
So
now because what I read
basically did
last night
some
was go on.
what you read last night?
I can't remember what it was, but it was really interesting, and I'm frustrated that I can't remember it. So
All right. All right.
it
Okay.
is what it is.
All right. So I guess any other wins since last Thursday on your end?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really.
All right. All right. So okay, so maybe I'll share a bit of my wins here. Okay. So well, I think one of the thing that's on my side, so I finished a Chinese book. Okay,
Uh-huh.
it's about on elders using ChatGPT. Okay, so it was more kind again also like a lead magnet for for the I guess for the course forward. And
Uh-huh.
also the thing is I have been survey, not just using ChatGPT to build the book, but also integrated an expert interview into it. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
basically I
Uh-huh.
interviewed Dr. Yang for it. That was done last Thursday, and
Uh-huh.
basically figure out a way to put the interview into part of the book. Okay.
Right.
And the way to do that was interestingly enough. So basically, what happened was I asked as a poet, our assistant, to turn that into text, right, from voice recording to text.
Yeah.
And additionally, you will require proofreading, all that, but just throw to ChatGPT and let it proofread. So that was something really interesting. But then the even
Right.
more interesting thing was, so for each chapter, I actually pose a question, okay, regarding the
Uh-huh.
chapter's main thing, okay, and then use that question to ask ChatGPT, given this article below, what was the author's view on this question? Okay,
All
so
right.
essentially, ChatGPT gave a really nice summary, actually, of all the huge text, of the answers Dr. Yang given, which
Yeah.
if you were to take a human to sort of summarize, would take quite a bit
Yeah.
of, I think, work and time, right? And
Yeah.
if you can look at the answer and to see that it's really got concrete, solid understanding. It was really
Yeah.
giving a good summary, of the interview answers. So that was pretty impressive. But I think the new thing, kind of the novelty of the approach, is that so it's basically a way to create an AI generated book, but still with a bit of a human touch,
Yeah.
still with some uniqueness in form of
Yeah. Yeah.
expert interview. Okay, so kind of a
Yeah.
blend of that. So obviously, this
Yeah.
is something we can definitely leverage for future books lead magnets. In terms of how to integrate, how to create.
Already doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how to do something unique, right?
Yep.
And the other thing was, well, this is just to, I guess, to share. Okay, so might sound a bit crazy, but basically,
Not from you. Not from you, Shinyo.
okay.
Nothing sounds crazy from you.
All right, thanks. I take that as a compliment.
No, you should do. Yeah.
Actually, I am trying to figure out a way, I'm now actually trying to put that book into print, and just doing a bit of survey on that front. I started to realize, wow, so everything moves quickly in in the world of bits, right? But when you move to the world of atoms, okay, things start to slow down. And the brick and mortar in the world of atoms. And
Right.
so usually it will take more time, it'll take more money.
I am listening. Bear with me a
Okay.
second. I am listening. I just got to put my hand in the pocket to
Sure.
I need two hands to open the door.
You can turn off the video if you like. I mean, you don't have to, since you're walking, that's fine. Yeah. So basically, it comes down to so a quick survey currently in Taiwan, for example, to print a small book. If it was just less than 100 copies, it will cost something like $1,000 US. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And if you were to make like 1,000 copies, okay, which is probably in the ballpark of what we are aiming at, it would be about I think 3,500 to $4,000. Okay, so that's kind of like the the amounts that if you go into like going to print, and this is already probably one of the best self book publishers in Taiwan. They probably already have a very efficient routine, but still, I think depends on what you're looking at. If your book does have like 1,000 sales or actual requests, right? However you're going to do that, then it might make sense, but still it's an investment. Okay, so I am kind of contemplating on the idea of well, okay, so that Dan has this thing about publishing like 100 books in 25 years, right? And it occurred to me that with this approach, you can actually churn out about a book, roughly one book a month. Okay, that's with AI assistant, assisted. So I just came to realize that, well, if you're publishing just one book, then obviously that's an investment, right? However, if you're actually starting to publish 100 books, or let's say 120 books in 10 years, one book a month, with the same format, so you actually save yourself like the layout costs, and probably you just have to put in new content. Then much like the Coach small books, then that actually will lower the costs for each book that's been done. Okay, but obviously you want to have like a kind of a theme to the book, right? Kind of like a series. So I guess this is the stage where I'm at. Okay, and this is all right. So I guess
hold on a second.
Right.
I'm just going to swap from the phone to the computer. Okay, so bear with me a second.
Okay, sure.
Recording in progress.
Hopefully I can.
Yeah. Okay, I think that works.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Great.
All right. So.
All right.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Are you saying you would do 120 books in a year or whatever it is?
120 books in 10 years. So.
See, that would have been a crazy idea, because that would have been 10 books a month.
Yeah, that would be really crazy. No, I'm not that crazy. Yeah, but the idea is to create a series, and basically churn out one book a month, with a certain topic. And right now the topic, according, Dr. Yang's feedback has been, focus on the elders market, because that's where both the money and also the future demand lies. Okay, so So right now, actually, I'm thinking about a series called the Future Elders. Okay, so that's a pretty wide topic, right? You can discuss about all kinds of issues, from health to investment to security to, and the elders, they're caring about three, according to ChatGPT again. First is health. Second is relation, such as relation with family members, with children. And the third would be security. Okay, both physical and also financial security. Yeah.
What qualifies as an elder?
Okay, so current definition would be someone who's 65 years or older. Okay, that's kind of the official definition, at least in Taiwan.
Wow.
But in the future, it could move to, let's say, 80 or so, right?
I was going to say, I wouldn't call somebody an elder until they're, elderly.
Right. So this is something that's just, and given how ChatGPT is, it's a great translator. If a series were to create, it could be even bilingual as well, right? Both in Chinese, English, or English and Chinese. And I think, if you can really get to, let's say, pick an interesting topic of interest, right? Every once a month, and get some expert interviews for that. And I think that can actually create something, kind of like a book franchise that would serve as a lead magnet, for all the other future services upsells you're doing. So, all right.
Yeah, lead magnet, but what's the purpose of it?
Oh, the purpose, I think, it's to have a way to get. Okay, so I do see there's a problem, kind of a market space, where there are experts, okay, or people with experience and know-how that would like to share or convey or educate their stuff to other people. I do believe this is something common, at least from the few people I'm in touch with, But writing a book typically takes a lot of time, right, and effort, right? I mean, at least that's what people think. Yeah.
There was a guy. So when I went to coach,
right.
was it last week, 2 weeks ago?
Right.
There was a guy sat here, and a guy, I had guys sitting next to me.
Right.
And this guy was saying, "Oh, yeah, I've just written a book. It's taken me about 4 weeks with ChatGPT, and we've got it now." And I went, "Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, it took us about maybe somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks to finish off this book. I mean, it took me a longer period because I wasn't focusing on it, but it took me about the same amount of time. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah. This fella, he goes, I feel terrible now, you two, because I've been writing a book. It's taken me 9 months." but I mean, the point is, and he hasn't even finished it. The point is, he's written it.
All right.
He has actually written it, as opposed to typing in questions into ChatGPT and then formulating those and melding them into the story. And I think that's the interesting thing, is that you just speed up the process where you don't have to kind of do as much research. And I think it really works. Well, whether or not it would work in a fictional context or not, I don't know. But so I agree with you in terms of absolutely the whole kind of speeding up the process.
Right.
I just think the reason why you're doing it. I mean, Dan's got a goal, right? He's saying it's partly, so his one book every quarter, right? Covers a couple of different goals, right? It illustrates, so the content illustrates the mindset of coach, and is a lead magnet for coach. So there's two things there, right? It's telling you one about what coach is about, and it's two, it's telling people who don't know what coach is about what coach is about, and bringing them in, and then three, it's a goodie for the guys that are already in coach, right?
It's for building community, right? Also,
And then there's another thing that he's sitting there proving a principle that you learn straight away in coach, or the first thing, which is time.
Yeah.
And well, no, but not just that, but I mean, time as in I'm going to live to 156 because I'm going to write whatever it is, 100 books. So for me to write 100 more books and I'm going to write them one a quarter, then I need to be, I need to live to this age, right? So when we first on our first session, we do that whole exercise about how old do we want to be, how old do we want to live to?
Right.
And what's a really crazy number? And so on. And it's all about hacking time and just being aware of what you're doing and getting more out of it. So again, it's another two elements of why he's doing that. One, he's doing it because he wants to extend his mortality and therefore his working mortality, if that makes sense.
Right.
And then two, it's approving another coach concept.
Okay.
And then like you pointed out, who not how, it's another coach concept, right?
It is. It's materializing the coach concepts. Yes.
Yeah. So all of that, okay, there are a number, there's like what we've counted off for almost 10, right?
Right.
Different reasons why he's doing it. And I think the publishing bit for him doing it's kind of the costs are irrelevant because they've already built up enough of a machine that the marketing costs associated with printing in a traditional context is kind of absorbed, right? It's part of their process.
Right.
But again, I think there's clarity about why they're doing it, and what why are you doing it? If you want to sell your product, you're going after the elder market. Why? Because somebody else has told you it's a good opportunity to be in. Or is there a reason why you want to service that market and that market alone? If you want to service that market and that market alone, and that's where you want to develop that's where you can deliver value because that's how you can do it. Well, then that's fine. But I think the challenge that I think you're facing is that you've got a bunch of great ideas, but where's the delivery on those ideas?
Okay, right. So that's a good question. Okay, so I'll try to answer honestly, okay, about this question, which is I do feel that it's kind of exploration on my part as well. Okay, kind of the 80% new stuff, and what I'm taking his feedback that I should work on. I probably want to work on, something that has a great demand in terms of the market demand, right? And leverage my unique ability to see what I can deliver in terms of value creation. So that's kind of an experiment where I was seeing how that could play out. I do know that creating.
Can I just stop you?
Right.
Okay. So that one point, creating a demand. Working on something which has a demand.
Right.
We know right now that the crypto still has a demand.
Right. True. Very true.
There is every indication that demand will continue to get bigger the more the players like BlackRock enter into the market.
Right. Sure.
So and having seen the kind of things that Olga has gone on and the things that Olga and I have both gone on, there is a global demand for people to have an awareness on how to invest their money in crypto.
Right. That's right.
Now, you've already established a service where your unique value of what you can do has created JCF.
Right.
And I think whilst JCF hasn't exploded in the same way that some of these other coins, etc., have exploded, I think in part that's because it's kind of honest and honest and not ethical, although it is ethical, but I mean, it has a kind of, it has an aim. One of the aims is not selfish. I can't think of the right words. It's kind of got a selfless aim to itself, right? And that's the social impact, right? So because of that, and because it's got a very conservative outcome.
Right.
It's not attracting lots of people
because speculators.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't. And I think that a modulation of JCF would actually trigger greater growth. But you see, the point I'm trying to make now is that you've got something, you've kind of planted a seed,
right?
And it's like you walk. For me, when I listen to you talking about other ideas and other goals, it's just like you're walking away from the seed and you're not bothering to water it.
Oh, okay.
You know, you might argue, well, I have watered it a bit and now I can see the green shoots coming out of the earth. Okay, it still needs love and attention.
Watering. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you still need to take away the weeds. You still need to, you know, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that one has to do to ensure that that tiny little seedling grows into the mighty oak or whatever kind of, you know, the big resplendent tree that is significant within your culture or whatever, right? So it's still, you know, we need to, and if we don't, I mean, there comes a point where in growing cycles, to carry on with the analogy, there's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah.
So
especially if it's an oak, right? Especially if it's a giant oak, right?
And at certain times in its growth, you just gotta walk away and let it do its thing. But you've also got to be in a position to come back to it at any given time and deal with something, right? Oh, it's got an infestation of termites or whatever, right? How do we deal with that? It's got a disease. How do we deal with that?
Right.
Exactly. And so, that does require constant focus and consistent kind of watching. It doesn't mean you can't go off and do something else at the same time, but you've got to get it to a certain position.
Okay.
And if we look back over the course of 12 months, I mean, like this time, so around about, I don't know, February or March, you came up with this idea about the Planet Summit because somebody had talked to you about it. You'd met somebody and it had triggered a bunch of interesting thoughts and you thought it was going to be a great idea. And you went off down this rabbit hole of this thing that you weren't focused on JCF all the time that you were thinking of that.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is I am deliberately trying to pull that to your attention because I think that whilst the idea is sound, both from the planet point of view and the elderly, I think I do think that is a good concept.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with those two concepts.
Okay.
But where are they? What happened to the Planet Summit?
Okay, so I can share with you what happened to it. Okay, this is an update.
It did. Yeah. Okay, it's an update, but has it actually? Did it happen?
Right. Okay. Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
No.
However.
No, it didn't. Right. Not however. The fact of the matter is, it didn't happen.
Right.
At the point that you said it would do.
No.
Ignore all the learning and all the positive and all the gain. I'm not trying to be critical and I'm not trying to say in the gap. I'm just saying the simple fact is it didn't. So yes, there is a lot of learning to have. Yes, the next iteration will be better. Yes, you will grow from it. Yes, I'm not disputing that. Right. The thing I'm trying to illustrate is whilst there was focus on that, there wasn't focus on JCF.
Okay.
And every time you have a thought about JCF, I mean, it's great. It's a great thought today that what you've told me about. But where are we at? We're at 9:25 and we've not spoken about JCF, right?
Okay, so let's delve into JCF. A lot has happened for JCF as well.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Lead with that next time, maybe.
Well, well, that was kind of okay. So for today, I do feel that we might want. Okay, so for example, I have revised the 3-hack a bit. Went back, so maybe I can share my screen. I do feel that there also has been a lot happening for JCF at the same time. Yeah, so I guess so basically, I think this is something we might want to revisit, at least on a quarterly basis to see where the goals are, right? And where we're currently at. And this is the May 2023 version, okay, of the swim lane. You can see my screen, right? Okay. So I did another version for October, okay? And basically just mapping out what are the actual things we have accomplished. Okay, so for example, in wealth, so basically for Q3, this is already done. So what happens is the wealth, platform now is live. Okay, it's live, it's working. And also in terms of the, I think, invest withdrawal, that's been, kind of tested. So but this is obviously not what, this is what we set out to do. Okay, so basically there has been some delay, and I think right now I've just moved that, all the things that we were planning to do to here, okay, to Q4. Okay, so that's just a simple thing I've done. Now, so this is about safety, about leveraging co-wallet, okay, as opposed to Binance. Although, there's argument, I think, both ways. Whether Binance or our own co-wallet is safer. That's something to discuss, right? That's a discussable point. Then also, in terms of strategy, getting some safe strategy that can still earn, let's say using liquidity pool or dollar cost average during bearish time. Okay, so we have been more or less entering market. And in fact, I was just checking, prior to this call, the current market. And according to the indicators, because our lead indicator is MACD and see whether the line are crossing, you can see it here.
Just remind me, what's a monthly, what is it? I can't remember what the acronym is.
It's okay, so it's the moving average convergence divergence. Okay, that's the acronym.
That's why I can't remember it.
Right. So let me just okay, make it, you can see, right? There are two lines.
Yeah.
And one is the slow, one is the fast. Okay, so basically when basically you can see that this is the daily, you can take different time duration. This is the what's called the MACD daily. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And when this blue line here is crossing, that usually shows a stronger momentum. So right now it's not yet crossing. Okay, it's not yet, but looks pretty close, to be crossing soon. And also,
it does.
For the other two cryptos, let's say Ethereum, right?
So sorry to interrupt, Shannon. Right. So basically, the process currently is if the blue line is going up above the red, then you enter into position. When the blue line is going down below the red, you come out of position. Is that correct?
Actually, we're even more conservative than that. It has to be not just the blue, but the top 3 cryptos, at least 2 of them are crossing. Okay. So for example, like BNB has already crossed. Okay. If you look at BNB, it's actually already crossed the red line. It's not very, but, it's crossed already. And BNB, in fact, according to, TradingView, right? They advise to buy, right? So is BTC. Okay, so these are like technical indicator. So more from a technical perspective, for traders, they recommend, to move in. For Ethereum, not yet. Okay, So Ethereum right now, if you look at their indicator, it's still for sale. Okay, so you can see there is a larger gap, right, between these two. However, if you look at the top 10, the other thing we look at is whether in the last 24 hours, at least 7 out of the top 10 has risen up. And you can see that all of them has risen in the last 24 hours. So actually, if, I think right now, although the technical indicators are not strictly crossing, so if we were to strictly abide by that rule, then we should wait, we should still wait. But, if you use like human judgment to see whether it looks like it's going up, then, it looks like it's a time that we could be, into position. Okay, at this point. So,
so sorry.
Yeah.
Why is it that Bitcoin and Ethereum both are green, and yet Ethereum is not green here?
Oh, because that is actually the moving average is about, the
Okay, yeah, all right, you said it. Got it.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
It's not really the direct, it's actually average in the last
got it.
Several intervals.
Yeah, I forgot it was a moving average. Yeah, sorry, it's okay.
Right.
So I've got another question.
Yeah. Okay.
Analytically, have you gone back in time and studied all the instances where there have been buy signals and sell signals over the last 6 to 9 months? And have you seen whether or not you've actually taken action on those signals?
Okay, so basically we haven't really, been monitored. That's why we got Poet, into helping us to be more accountable.
Okay, so the answer is no.
This is right? No. Okay, so this is the last year. Okay, to answer your question, this is the historic MACD daily, over the last year. So according to the signal, we would have, gone into position at least, you can see there's one pretty large jump here. So once, twice, 3. Now, this is just a small jump, but according to the signal, we could have acted.
Well,
4.
You could have acted and then you would have come out again, yeah.
And then 5. Okay, there's a small one. 6, this is a big one. Okay, 7, a small one. 8, a small one. And this is probably where we would not enter, okay, because it's already above. 8. And now 9th. Okay, so in the last year, this is already the 9th time, according to this approach, that would have indicated there would be 9, this would be a 9. So at least already 8 occasions where we could have.
So let's call it 8 then.
Right.
Okay.
Over
and
the
so
last
now,
year,
so from this is our product.
Right.
Okay. So am I right in saying that we missed 8 opportunities to generate profit?
That would be correct to say, yes.
Okay, fine.
Right.
So to illustrate how important it is, have we worked out how much profit we've missed? Now, I'm not saying this because I want to sit there and chastise and get all grumpy, but I'm interested because if we understand that we could have generated, I'm just making these figures up, right? Let's say we could have increased the fund from, I don't know, giving it 50% growth, right? So it would have gone from $50,000 to $75,000,
right? Something like that, yeah.
Let's just be for fun and play for figures, right?
Right.
What could we have done with that $25,000? And for me, these are the things that we should be, concerned about, because that $25,000 would enable us to move forward. Now, some of it obviously would have gone for the prime objective, which is delivering on social impact, right?
Right.
Some of it would have been been paid on to the holders as dividends, but a percentage of that, I mean, whatever the percentage is, 20% or 13% of 25,000 would have been for JCF, which we could have then spent on moving ourselves forward over the course of last year. So we would be in a dramatically different place today than we are because of it. And that's kind of, this is our business. Or at least as far as JCF is concerned. This is what makes us money. This is what's going to take us forward. This is why, you see, like you and I going through this, perhaps the answer is every week. This is part of what we do. And we talk through those numbers. And
perhaps we should check on this graph every week, right? I mean, as a part of the routine. Or part of it is that Poet gives us an analysis of what happened during the course of the previous week. And so right now she's already alerting us for the crossing, both crossing up or crossing down. That's and also during the week as well.
Okay, and are we taking action on it then?
I think the last one, yes. I mean, actually, I did enter position, just a couple of weeks ago. I think I told you about that one.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a small. I think a small one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Thanks. So you do have a point here, and just curious for this. So do you think we should wait until it cross, or do you think it's fine that we can just enter position? That's also, I guess, a call.
I would say that I'm a stickler. If we've agreed a strategy, then stick to the strategy.
Okay.
Because the moment we start making judgments, we're making judgments.
Human affected. Yeah. Okay.
If we're looking at, if we've decided that the strategy is X, then that's the decision, right? It becomes unemotional.
Okay. Right? Yeah. And it can be executed by anyone, right?
Yeah. And also the thing is, if we're looking at it and we're analyzing on a weekly basis, and we can see that the strategy isn't working, or it can be improved, or whatever, well, then we've got a choice to make. We can do that. The strategies that I follow for my own personal trading, that's how I operate, and I don't think about it otherwise.
Okay.
It's such a relief.
Okay. All right. So I guess that's the one of the other progress. So I guess it goes back to the the 3 hack. Okay. So right now I'd simply just push what was being and also I guess adjusted the 1,000 clients, right? That's what we set up for Q3 to be Q4. So I guess
but the other thing in so we did this prior to June, right? Then we went to Collision.
Right.
And at Collision, we made a decision about moving forward with only one objective.
Hello? Can you
I'm still
okay, that was all right, continue. Yeah.
So we made a decision in June to move ahead with one objective. And that objective was to do the 1,000. Right? So cold wallet storage, I mean, the impact of whether or not we get that done this quarter or not, I don't see the what's the right word? Yeah, the urgency.
Okay.
Or the importance to me, unless you tell me otherwise, of course.
Well, it's mainly about trusting our assets with a third party. or trusting it with our own cold wallet, because well, one can argue Binance is the largest crypto exchange. It's well trusted. And you can also argue, exchanges, they fall. Okay. I like FTX, which just disappeared like in an instant. Such given in crypto world, there's the saying, if you don't have the keys, then it's not your assets, right? So I guess it's but at some point it also comes down to, right, whether you trust custodian. Right?
Yeah,
and as the industry mature, I think definitely it specializes, right, to your professional custodian right now in the market, and they are being trusted, they are playing, and as market mature, that's likely how it's going to happen, right? So I guess there are different ways to look at this. And obviously people are driven by different philosophies. Okay.
Yeah. Whether or not Binance is going to fail or not, you don't know.
No.
Perhaps, I don't know how possible this is, but is it possible to have a percentage kind of on the exchange and a percentage in a cold wallet?
Obviously, and we can determine that percentage as well. We can even, well, I'll just give you an example to even save the hassle, because let's say if we're enter position, right, with the top 10, and we try to move that cold wallet, that's a lot of work, manual labor, okay? In terms of you have to do transfer one by one, from the exchange to the, although that might be automated somewhat, but additional work in terms of the system development. One simple way is when we're out of position, such as right now into USDT, then we just move that into our cold storage, our cold wallet, right? So that would be just like one USDT transfer, both way. And when we decide to enter position, obviously we'll have to make that ready to move back to exchange, to be ready. Like right now, actually, would be the time where we want the assets to be in the exchange, to be waiting to enter, into position, right? Because it could happen any moment when the lines cross. So, I mean, just to give you some idea, does it make sense? I mean,
yeah, I think I think so, and I think it's a case of maybe we, if we use that 90-10 principle,
right.
90% is conservative and 10% is risk. Then we could argue that by keeping 10% of the fund on the exchange, it gives us fluidity. Right. Actually, let's assume then that we grow to $1 trillion. Well, it might be that we might want to address that number. But right now, I think that's reasonable. And then, like you say, it looks like it's going to turn. So, all right, fine. Let's put it in let's move it from the cold wallet onto the platform, the exchange.
Okay.
I think and then again, this becomes a decision as part of the weekly process.
Right.
I think that's fair enough.
Okay, all right. So I mean, we could adopt that as a habit, as a routinized operational decision, right?
Yeah,
we can just
and straight away that's answered that question, isn't it? We've achieved that then,
right?
Because we've got a principle under that now,
right?
So
then,
all right, it's not.
Then it's execution, right? We have to execute, right? Then okay. And
safe strategy implemented. I mean, that's that implies to me that it isn't safe at the moment.
Well, this is I think this was more about still have a strategy in the out of position bearish market, like right now when we're holding fiat, right? Or if the market is going down, is there another
Yeah.
strategy that we can implement to still get some return, right, of the assets? I think that's what this is. This is because we already have one strategy that will produce results if the market is going up, right, overall. But we want another strategy that even if the market is going down or if we're out of position, we can start generating some cash.
Here's the thing, Shinyan.
Mm-hmm.
Would it not be a good idea
Mm-hmm.
if JCF, out of some of that 13%, JCF actually buys Bitcoin?
You mean out of the
So,
13%
yeah.
profit, or
Yeah. So every time we make a
I mean
profit,
the team tokens?
out of that 13% that JCF takes, some of that is an asset that's purchased for the benefit of JCF.
That we can do that. We can do that, but that will be kind of, that's a discussion about how do we allocate or utilize company assets, you know, not the client assets. But the strategy here we're talking about, it's more like what do we do with the client's assets, right?
Understood. Okay, point taken. I think that would be kind of cool to do that. So because the reason why I thought that was that whole kind of dollar cost averaging. But again,
Yeah,
dollar cost averaging.
I mean, we can place whatever policy we like with company assets. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
So with dollar cost averaging, so far I have only ever seen personally, I've only ever seen growth over the term.
Okay, that's good.
Now you see the obvious advantage of that is that over the longer period of time, then you know your margin might become, you know, your growth margin might become smaller, but it's still a growth margin.
Right, still positive. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, that if we're using part of that, then I think we should stick a percentage of the, and maybe here's the thing. So of the 75% which is held back,
right,
maybe a percentage of that should be put into dollar cost averaging.
Okay, all right.
On specific currencies. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it on any of the others, other than only feel comfortable on doing it with Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay, sure. I mean, we can just set up a percentage. That's
and then that's utilized, that's benefiting the fund as a whole.
Okay, so are you talking about the whole fund taking a percentage of the whole fund's assets into, let's say,
because
Bitcoin?
that's how you, so that's how you would do dollar cost averaging, right?
I see. All right.
So
I think we had the idea.
Paper,
yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
In the white paper, it says 75% of the profit will be withheld into the fund, right?
75%. Well, it's more like the retained earning, you know, from
of the profit,
the dividend pool. Yeah, the dividend pool
of the profit,
right? What
so
be retained?
Yeah. So of the profit that the fund makes, 75% of that will be held back, right? You're only paying dividends on 25% of the profit,
of the dividend pool, yeah.
So 75%, you know what we're doing with it.
Just hold it. What happened though is you have to understand the 75% is JCF tokens. Okay, that's being held. So it's also again influenced by the whatever investment strategy we're taking. You see? So regardless, it's the current, you know, the MACD crossing enter exit strategy, or if we decide to implement a DCA, you know, for Bitcoin, for example. that's going to impact the value, the growth of those, those 75% as well. You see?
Okay, so I think then there's sorry.
So I think maybe one thing useful to discuss is whether we want to, for example, adopt a DCA, dollar cost average, of the entire fund when it is out of position, right? For example, taking 1% of the fund into Bitcoin if we're out of position, right? And do that like on a weekly basis, for example.
I think the point about dollar cost averaging is that you do the same thing every time period.
Right. Okay.
And then you're not thinking about it. So every week, money goes out of my bank account, goes into Binance, and Binance turns that money into Bitcoin.
Okay.
I don't think about it.
Okay. So you mean it's regardless we're in or out of position, we do that, like, let's say on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. That works. We do have to decide though, when we enter position, do we still reserve those dollar cost average amounts, invested amounts? So for example, let's say there's we have about like 50,000, right? Total assets under management now. Let's say 5,000 has been now into Bitcoin, because of this DC strategy, right? Because we haven't entered position for a while, it's been 5,000. Or no, sorry, maybe 5,000 is too much. Maybe, like 2,000.
Let's use that as a number, right?
All right, 5,000. Okay, so my question I want to confirm is, let's say we enter position, right? So our role is we enter as top 10, and also for each token, each crypto, we maximum allocate just 20%, okay, to that. So there's at most 20% into Bitcoin, at most 20% to Ethereum, things like that. That's our current allocation strategy. Now, when we get out, well, the first question is, what happens to the 5,000 that's already in Bitcoin? Okay, do we count that as part of the let's say 20% of Bitcoin we want to hold, or no? Okay, that's the first question. Okay, so your answer is no. The second question then becomes obvious. When we exit out of position, do we still keep the 5,000 worth of Bitcoin? Okay, all right.
Yeah, otherwise, it's not.
And likely it's not. Likely it's not going to be 5,000. And another question is, do we record that as 5,000 of Bitcoin, or as a certain amount of Bitcoin that we want to hold? Do you see my point?
Yeah. No, we don't. It's not to do with how much Bitcoin we hold. That's the point about it. Is we will always be holding an increasing amount of Bitcoin, regardless of what the financial value of Bitcoin is.
All right.
We will just keep on increasing our Bitcoin quantity.
I see. All right.
The other thing then is that,
because that's the dollar cost average approach, right? That's kind of the philosophy behind the DCA. Okay, all right.
Exactly.
The
other thing then is that if you take 50,000 and you take 10% is 5,000,
right?
Then you don't necessarily put it all in one lump, because then that's not dollar cost averaging.
No. I'm saying accumulated. If it accumulated,
we might earmark $5,000 to be invested across 52 weeks.
Okay, I see.
So if we made it $5,200, then it'd be $100 a week.
Okay, I see. Now, Mike. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
An interesting bit of analysis to prove a point would be to look back over the course of the last 12 months and go, if I bought 12 months ago $5,200 worth of Bitcoin, how much is it worth today? Or if I'd adopted a dollar cost averaging approach,
Right.
how much would it be worth today? Because there is an illustration that I saw just recently. There's a company in America, I can't remember the name of them, but basically the CEO said US dollar isn't stable, Bitcoin is more stable. He was migrating all of the company's surplus USD into Bitcoin.
Okay, into Bitcoin. That's a smart move. Actually. Yes.
And he's generated profit because of it.
Right,
but what's interesting is if you measure, he basically, whenever he had money in his company, he put it into Bitcoin.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's not,
Yeah.
And it's not, what's the word? It's not consistent.
Okay.
So it's whenever there was money.
Right. I see.
If you map onto that,
right,
a consistent dollar cost averaging approach, you would have made more money.
Yes. That's the idea behind DCA. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's a practical example, and I think
okay.
the point is, because you might argue, well, if I've got 5,200, why don't I just dump it into Bitcoin today?
Yeah, because you could buy it more expensively than otherwise. Yeah. Right.
But I mean, that's the whole point. Is if we're reserving 5,200,
right? Okay.
Then we're going to get 100.
One last question. Okay, I like this approach, this line of thinking. One last question. I agree. This is a strategy that definitely will earn money. Okay, over long term. Okay, and it's a safe investment approach, provenly safe. So that's aligned with the JCF value and mission. Okay, of safety. So I think we should adopt that. Now, the next question I want to ask is, do we do that as, let's say, a fixed month or a fixed percentage each time we, let's say, purchase Bitcoin on a weekly basis, for example?
I think we should, at first, state a total percentage of whatever the asset value is today.
Okay.
We'll agree a percentage today, and we'll give that a term of 12 months. But we'll review it.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, we'll review it every quarter, right? Because it might be that over the course of, 6 months, because of our success rate,
right,
we'll be in a much better position. At which point we could increase the percentage the percentage is on its own right. So let's say it's 10%, right? If today we've got 50,000, if in 6 months we've got 100,000, well, then we've got an extra $5,000 to play with, right?
Right. Okay.
So I think we should review it. And likewise, there might be a point in time where, because of whatever, we need to pull those reserves.
Right. Okay.
I don't want to think like that because I think that's negative. But so I think, and then that gives us a review point, right? But it also means that we earmark 5,200 for the year, and then we can automate from an account $100 a week.
Right. There would be a time when getting the assets, potentially cashing out might make sense. When there's like a huge market crash of Bitcoin, for example, and like there's going to be expecting a long, cold crypto winter. At that point, we might decide we want to cash the Bitcoin into fiat or stablecoin, right? And then restart a dollar cost average after the crash, or
But then, as soon as you do that, I agree.
Okay,
I
but anyway, I think we can discuss that later. I like that. So let's say, how about 1%? Decide on, let's say, 1% of assets to enter each on a weekly basis, or 0.5. What do you think?
Well, that's not what I'm saying though. I'm saying let's agree to put in. So what's 1% of assets then? That's 1%. That's $50.
So for $50,000, that would be like 500. Yeah, 1% would be like $500. Yeah.
You're saying 500 a week?
Yes, something like that. Yeah. And it's
Okay.
always going to be 1% of the assets at the moment, you know, so the assets will be fluctuating. I think that's also give us a more, you know, bit of,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, all right. So if we say 1%.
All right,
Okay,
Mike, just be mindful. There's going to be a text sync at this point. Okay. I mean,
all right, well, I've got to go anyway. I didn't realize it was 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. But do you agree 1% of the total asset sites, DCA on a weekly basis?
Look, in principle, as a conversation, I agree.
Okay.
In practice, what I think we should do is that we should formulate this into a written statement.
Okay.
Because then you and I will put our names next to it, and whilst we're doing that, we'll think through what is the ramifications.
Sure. All right.
And we might want to adjust our thoughts based upon how we've written it out, because we'll think of something else.
Okay.
Right here, right now, I'm in agreement, definitely.
Okay. All right. Sure. Let's write it down.
But I think, you know, we need to formalize it.
One way to do that is through the white paper. Would you like to do that? I mean, we can put another version, or you just want it to be like a memo. I mean,
now I think to start with, we need to just outline the principle. So that would be, I guess, a memo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In the memo.
And then if we're going to alter the white paper, then we have to kind of, you know, we've got something to work with.
Right. All right. Good. All right. So I guess yeah. So that's it. I think we've got some good progress. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So maybe we'll continue the conversation on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Cheers, buddy.
So thanks.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. Bye. Take care. Bye.